How many times have you thought you should have spoke up about something, but you chose to be passive just for an easy life? I know it's tempting sometimes. You just think, I'm not getting involved. That is often a good strategy, I must say. But if you've got a particular mission or a vision or whatever, you got like a project that you're working on or something that you're working towards, or you, even if it's just a belief that you have and you feel strongly about something, right? And you don't speak up. Let's say you pretend to be, well, not pretend, let's say you opt to be very passive, take the passive approach just for the easy life, just so you don't get any hassle. Chances are you're letting your personal boundaries get eroded. And in just being passive, you're not likely to get what you want, right? You're basically not going to get the results that you want unless you speak up. And you see this a lot in, you know, everything I've ever done. I've always been assertive, right? And I genuinely believe that if you want to get somewhere in life, you've got to be very assertive. These are almost like it's like being confident in knowing that what you stand for, your identity, and everything that you want to achieve is the right thing. You've got to have that ultimate self-confidence and belief in yourself. And then once you have that, it's not about bullying people or anything like that, but just standing up for what you believe in, even if it's like, you're not trying to like overtalk or bully people down a particular route. This was a video that I released recently about learning Machiavellian strategies. Yeah, that's really good to get what you want, but you don't have to be, a brutal bully here. Sometimes it might just be a boundary issue, So if someone's sort of, let's say, speaking to you about something and they're just encroaching on a small boundary, if you allow that just to pass by without saying anything, then you're letting people slowly encroach on your boundaries. Really, you'd be better off speaking up. As Jordan Peterson has a great term for this. He says, "Don't let things hide in the fog." Right? Not letting things hide in the fog. It's better to have many small battles than to let things hide in the fog, because when Jordan Peterson says about don't let things hide in the fog, what he means there is that's where you get people building up resentment. So if you don't speak up and you just allow things to happen and people to just nibble away at your boundaries, because I've been there in the past, what actually happens in that scenario is you slowly build up little bits of resentment, and that can lead to passive aggression. So eventually you'll just snap at some point. And I used to do this, in the early days of my business. I'd like just be there, and I'd accept little boundary encroachments, whether it's people turning up a little bit late or taking the piss, not really doing the job, whatever, right? Little things where they're just taking the piss on hours, bits and pieces, and I'd sort of tolerate it. And it took me until like what I'd end up doing is I'd just tolerate it so far where I'd end up, something had happened, like we'd lose money on a project or whatever, something would go wrong, and then I'd have to get passive aggressive. I'd just come out of nowhere and just flipping cut them off at the knees. They'd be out the business. And I did that a few times. I went through like 3 major teams, and I realized that that was the wrong approach, right? The better approach is to speak up early, right? As Jordan Peterson says, don't let things hide in the fog. Don't be passive, because the problem with being passive is, like, if it's an issue that's got nothing to do with you, or it's a general public debate, in them I won't get involved in any kind of big general public debates for the sake of politics or anything like that. I think the best way to deal with politics is just in the ballot box, right? Don't bother engaging online with anything like that. What I'm talking about here is where it's a direct has direct influence with you, and if it affects you, particularly if it affects your what you stand for, your identity, and what you believe in that scenario, then you should speak up. Definitely don't be passive. That's how it's like taking action. It's like if you're ever going to get anything done in life, you need to take action. Of course, always be polite. There's no need to ever get angry. All you have to do is define your identity. Go and live it every day and stand up for your boundaries, right? And that's it. It's like give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Treat each interaction every time you meet someone, even if it's a friend or whatever. Treat almost like I said before, like be a bit childlike. Every meeting is like the first time you've ever met them, and just give them the complete benefit of the doubt until they show you otherwise. And you can do this if you've really finely tuned boundaries. The minute you see someone encroaching on your boundaries, speak up, do something, act. But don't ever be passive, because being passive only ever leads to resentment and eventually passive aggression. So yeah, it won't serve you. I think you should always be assertive in what you want. You can do that politely. You don't have to be a complete arsehole. But every single issue, even like I say, I don't get involved in politics, but every single huge detrimental political event has always happened when people don't speak up. So like you might see in the media at the minute, there's a lot of talk about free speech, isn't there, right? I don't get involved in politics, but my answer to that is, well, it doesn't affect me. If I want to say something, I'm just going to say it. So it's not like, I'm not going to directly get involved in any political debates. I just go about my own day. I'm going to say what I want, do what I want. No one's going to tell me otherwise. How can I do that? Well, because I've got really good boundaries, but also like having personal sovereignty. So making sure your life is being, done a few videos about this recently, making sure you're living your life on your terms, right? So you're making decisions for yourself without having the influence of others. So without having the influence other, if you've got to watch what you say because you work in a particular organisation, then you've kind of got a constraint there, haven't you? You've got to watch what you say. So you always want to try and weed these things out. So you've got more personal sovereignty. You can make your own decisions, and then all you have to do is live your life, watch it when people encroach your boundaries, stand up for what you believe in, speak up where you believe it to be right, always, and don't take any shit off anyone, basically. Go and watch my videos on create your fortress of solitude. Quite good, actually. It's all about creating that personal sovereignty, that personal power, where I'm not saying you're invincible, but you can pretty much live the life that you want. And then you can speak up. You don't have to worry about anyone else and what they think. I always think the worst thing that you can kind of do is you see something, it's like, oh, I'm not going to mention it. Yeah, if it's in the media, I'd never get involved. But if it's like, in a particular personal situation, you see something that's not right, you should be able to speak up confidently without fear of anything happening to you. And if you can't do that, then maybe you need to look at your personal power and your personal sovereignty within that situation. What's stopping you from speaking up for what, and speaking up for what you believe to be right? Because if you're making that passive, sometimes you have to be passive where it's going to damage your long-term vision. You might have to make a strategic decision. Might be a bit more like about the Machiavellian stuff that I did last few days. But usually, if you're just opting for the easy life, are you just putting off the inevitable? Because opting for the easy life can end up with, what can we say? You can end up with that getting worse and worse over time. The longer you leave it, the worse it gets, the more entrenched you get, the more passive you become. And then that's only going to lead to resentment. And as I say, passive aggression. I don't think it does you any favours. Right, I've got to shoot because I've got to go and get to our Sim. She wants me to go and help her with her roof. All right? Don't be passive. Speak up and push back when you know that you're right. All right? See you all next time.